recording. And what we are going to start by doing is talking about your progress trackers. And then we're going to talk about marketing and copy, two things that I know are very high up on most people's lists when we do consultations. So, first things first, with the progress tracker, you will have a form that will look like this, and that's what you're going to fill out every week. Within the classroom, it's going to be underneath progress tracking, and now nobody can see it. So it's only you, and it says for one student. So it's just for you to see and fill out. The reason why I made it just for you now is I included, I know you might have heard me mention on the first week or the second week, I forget when I said it, that I'm going to include a progress form, just like you guys can include for your clients. So we have in each of these categories, this where it says form responses 1 is going to populate exactly what you say in the form. Now, Maria, you asked a great question. You asked, do you fill this out when you're working with clients, or do you have them fill out a form like this? I like to do a temperature check with my clients. And instead of having them fill out the form by themselves, sometimes they like to hear what they say, and like just so I can hear like why they're ranking each number. So I'll be like, okay, hey, Darren, that's not this person's name, but like just to keep their name anonymous, I'm like, okay, so here's the date. And I'll be like, all right, how are you feeling about burnout? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. And they'll be like, 5, time management, 4, confidence, 7, work-life balance, 6. Like I literally like rattle it off like that as quickly as that. And I actually didn't add fulfillment until like month 4. This is what it actually used to look like. So I like had it like this, and I was like, I wanted them to see it tracked. So then we could see her growth over time in a chart like this. I knew that was really fun to see the intangible the periods of growth. And that's why, and we're meeting next week for a one-on-one, but like for everyone who's done the pillars, these will be your pillars, and you'll track exactly what you talk with them about on the consult. You'll track in your actual like sessions with them, or if you're doing something freelance writing video, you can have your like the people who you're doing the publications for, if you have like weekly meetings with them, you can guide them, be like, do you feel like we're on track, like is like based on the pillars that we had for you. And I was like, I really want to do that for my group clients, but I don't have time to check in with every single one of you and get you to be like, okay, 5, 4, 3, okay, Vinia, go, okay, Maria, go. So I was like, this is an easier way to do it for me. Same pillars, same chart, but unless you have more than one response, it looks crazy. So you just want to make sure you have the responses in. Then I also wanted you guys to see, even though like many of us, like the reason why I want you guys to start these trackers and things like that is I want you to have an idea of your finances. I think I've been a part of so many programs, like so many, guys. I've spent so much money on coaching, and like actually this year I realized I'm going to spend around 100K just on coaching itself. And no one had me track my finances, like nobody. And I think it's pretty important. Like I had people checking in like monthly, but definitely not weekly. And so that's what I wanted to give to you guys, just a way that you can see it. And on sheet, it'll say like most people, I'm pretty sure, unless there was only one response in the progress tracker, it should have a money spot. Now, if someone else is better with spreadsheets, I would love to know if you can get this column. I looked up so many videos about it, but I would love for this column to just like magically appear over here, but I can't figure out how to do it. So sadly, the only piece that you'll need to do by hand is put the date and how much money you have in these two columns. And I like when after you fill out your form every week, you're going to start doing that. And this will automatically populate. So let's say next week you fill out the form and you make $50 and then you make 40. You can see, okay, based on each week, you're going to see the income maybe goes up and down, which is normal because you're an entrepreneur and there is never like a set linear way that we'll be getting our money in. It's not like a regular job. However, you're going to see overall income continue to go up. The problem is if you put like a dollar sign in here, or like I made money like $50 here and $50 there. If you don't just put like a dollar amount in here, like some people were trying to explain it in here and be like, well, I didn't really make that much money. And I was like, it's, you can't copy and paste that. If I were to put like $40 group, 100 one-on-one, it, do you see how it messes up the spreadsheet? We don't want to mess up the spreadsheet. And Talia, you'll just watch this back and you'll see like, it's good to see you, but just go and look and you'll see where, what we're talking about here. But this is just to go over the form responses so you can start to see, oh, each week, even if this second category might be staying stagnant, you're definitely going to be getting better in each of these categories. And if for some reason you go down in one of these categories, I can also see it and be like, hey, just checking in. What is going on? Why are you feeling like a 0 in sales after you felt like a 5 for like the past couple of weeks? So, well, that is just helpful for me to see where you are and helpful for you to as well. So, marketing. This is one of my favorite things to talk about because I think a lot of people go through marketing and they make it something that's very confusing. And it feels like just this, like, I don't know, especially this is going to be designed to like think about social media, which would include LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the above. And it kind of just feels like this enigma. And like I had the task when I first started coaching, my coach was like, do 30 posts in 30 days. And I was like, all right. And I love my coach. Like I am working with her again, think she's divine. But I was like, what the fuck am I going to talk about? Like there is like so much to talk about. So I just kind of like get up out of bed and be like, all right, we're going to talk about something. It's going to be good. I was like, all right. Have you ever been cut off when you're driving? Let's talk about how that could affect your workday. Like just random shit that I was like, this could be a post. And there's a lot of merit and value to that. However, I want you guys to be known in the industry as someone who stands out with those pillars. So what I realize is that there's a way that you can batch content monthly. It takes a really long time to like get it into a flow, but once you do it, this shit is golden. Like, I mean, it's like so nice to just have all of your content done for the entire month. It's amazing. And I want to teach you how to do that. And then there's a protocol for monthly, weekly, daily, and a way that you can diversify your feed. So essentially what you want to do is you want to take your pillars and we will every single month. What I like to do is I like to set aside like the first Friday in a month to just batch content. And I'll show you what that will look like for you guys. I didn't get a chance to do it for this month, so it's not a perfect thing that you're going to do, but it is important for you guys to see that. Then we'll talk about how to weekly, what you're going to do, and then daily. So I like to think about, for me, 3 posts a week is what I typically do. What I like to do is instead of doing like 3 random posts, I like to have them centered around a topic. When I was doing career coaching, as you guys know, I would do burnout, time management, confidence, work-life balance, and long-term plan, if you watch the video. So I would take one whole week and talk about confidence. And then the next week, I would talk about burnout. And then the next week, I'd talk about time management. It just gave me a flow so that anyone who came and looked on my page, they saw, oh, Megan's a burnout coach. Oh, she helps with time management. Oh, she helps with confidence. And it helped me to stand out in the industry. Now, you're probably asking the next question, which is a very good question, is what is a warm, hot, and cold lead? So a warm, hot, and cold lead means that that's how you're going to diversify your posts. So the first is a cold lead, and they really don't know you at all. They might just found you. They might just be following you on some sort of social media, and they want to know why the pillar is important to them. For instance, why sales is important to me is because I wanted to do less consults and coach more people. And so I figured out a way to simplify my consult so that I would close more people, have a higher conversion rate. That's what my plan was. So for my cold leads, I would do a whole post about like my story, my philosophy around why I do consults the way I do. Warm, if I was talking about sales, like spending a whole week talking about sales, that's where I would be like, okay, do you want a higher conversion rate? Here's a way that you can end a consult. You can ask people to list their reasons why they want to do your program and why not. And that is like a how-to kind of thing. You want to be doing something like that every week so that the people who are like in your audience know a little bit more about you. And then hot leads are testimonials. So you guys probably saw Jess was 2 weeks ago, Talia's this past week, and Maria's coming up this week. So whenever you guys do that little video about like your 1-minute video about who you are and who you help, that's what I'd use for my hot leads to be like, hey, I genuinely work with people. I can genuinely help you too. So when I am batching out content monthly, you'll see how crazy it kind of looks over there. But what I like to do is I like to start with a header, like a quick little headline. And I like to be like, ooh, okay, so for like I would write, if I was talking Ben again about the weekly topic of sales, I'd be like conversion rate. And I would literally just write the words like conversion rate or like Austin Powers or like all the struggles, round one fight, making decisions confidently. Things that no one else would understand at all. But it's something I would be able to like just like be like, oh yeah, I want to talk about this. And then once a month, I would just write the tagline. And then I like to find a trending audio. So like this is like the Austin Powers was like that was the audio for that reel. Now I used to do 5 posts a week. You don't need to. You only need to do 3. And so I had a protocol. They're a little out of order. But I would have a protocol that I shared with you guys where I would take that week and I would write the headline first and just like kind of like have that for my copy. And then I would write the audio I'm going to use. And then I would go into just taking different shirts and I would literally like go through and I would change my shirts. I would put different earrings on. I would put a different like hairstyle in. And when I refer to content batching, it would take me like, it should probably take you for the first time you do it, like a lot, like 3 hours, but it now can be up to like an hour where I just get all of my reels done for the entire month. And it's literally just me like changing clothes, doing quick changes, just so I can batch out something really quick, but it does not include writing. So content batching is something you do monthly, just getting a bunch of videos, getting a headline, choosing the audio, and having that. So that's what I do for content batching monthly. And then for weekly, that's when I actually write the posts. And I do that on Fridays typically. I'll go through because I don't typically coach on Fridays. I'll go through and look at that content calendar, the large little content calendar here, and I will actually write the post and I will make the Canva graphics and I will go through and like add little hashtags if need be. That is what I do weekly. Prep reels with the audio, and sometimes like I'll put words on it, like they'll pop up while I'm doing it. That's what I like to do. In the daily, I post the picture, upload the video to Reels. And when I say post 3 times a week, I like to use the same words from the post and just take like a sentence and use it for the reel. So it's actually the same content. If you look at my page, same content, literally twice. It's kind of awesome. So like repurpose. Yeah, I love Upworthy. So it's like I talked about like the 3 learning cycles. And then guess what this was about? The 3 learning cycles. Surprising. So it's like literally the exact same. Yeah, silly, but it works for bringing in content. The other thing is I used to do a ton, and going into what we're going to talk about like week 9, actually writing copy. When we're talking about writing copy, you want to start with the headline, then go into the body, and then have a call to action. But sadly, I learned this is what I used to do for my copy. I'd have like huge thing here. Look at how long this is. Lovely, badass content. However, recently what I learned is that 80% of people only read the first sentence. Then of that 80% of people, only like 5% read after the fourth sentence. I was like, well, shit, I put a lot of time into this. This is a good piece of content here. And I think I messaged a couple of you guys, like, we'll talk. I think it was Demetria specifically, I remember. But like I was like, it's such good content, but no one was reading it. So what I did realize like 2 weeks ago, and that's why this isn't updated just yet, is I took all the stuff that I was posting and I put it in Canva. When you look up carousel reels in Canva, what happens is you will see that you can post things multiple times. And I just thought about myself as a consumer, and I was like, oh, when I'm consuming content, I rarely read someone's caption unless it's y'all's. Like I'll go through and I'll actually read your stuff. But like I was like, oh, that's why people were not reading my stuff. I literally started doing this like during my launch like 3 weeks ago. And now I keep every single time I open up Facebook, it's like your engagement is off the charts. Like I used to have 0 people liking it, and now I have like 4 people liking it, which again, not a cute, you can still hit 6 figures with 0 people liking your stuff. And now I actually figured out a way for people to read my things, which is very helpful because I put a lot of time into it. And you do too. Big fonts, very helpful. I am going to now go with like these 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just gonna stick with like 5 Canva templates. Yeah, 5, 6. Those are gonna be like the 6 ones that you guys are gonna just see a lot of. And change the pictures up a little, but then I'm gonna stick with those because they got the most likes, and I think they also were very helpful for people to see. So, and then I also talked about like program updates in here. So this was during week 9 of the old one. Again, I'm going to go back and film all of that content when I've got a lot of wonderful time. But I wanted to emphasize that like a lot of the people that are going to work with you, a lot of them are going to come from, they're not going to come from your marketing initially. I would say within your first 100K, like on social media. So like, this is a time when you guys can get like express, and Maria, I see your hand. I promise I'll get you. But like, I want you to have a chance to have, like just play around with it. Doesn't need to be perfect. Write it quickly. But I also want you to know that the majority of the people will come to you from your relationships and from like connections you've made so far, which we're going to talk about next week. But for now, time to play. I'm gonna have a post where we're gonna share each other's Instagrams. So you guys are gonna be able to follow each other, and you guys can see each other's posts, like hype each other up if you want, no pressure. But it's funny because now, like people who are in the last group, they're also like collaborating with each other. And like these all, so Amber, Carrie, and Christina were all in my last group. And now Amber started a group coaching program, and they're all going to be guest speakers in it. Like, so it's like, get the people that you have in here, utilize them. They're going to start to become your resources. Huh, that was a lot to cover. And also in the evening when my brain is not always fully functioning. I know, Jackson, I agree, retweet. But I want to hear if you have questions about that. And Maria, we're going to go you first.
Hey, I love the idea of like repeating copy. That's like so, and I believe this stats completely. I also tend to write long captions. So gonna switch that up. But so can you like copy the caption? Can you like walk through, because if you're doing in 1 week like a cold post and a warm post and a hot post, are you changing like if it's the same copy, could you talk about like what you do change to make it go from like a cold lead to a warm lead?
Absolutely. Also,
I have one more other question, but I can wait.
hold on just a moment. I should have a folder in here that should say live coaching calls. Are people seeing that anywhere in here?
Mhm.
Am I crazy?
Oh, over on the right, second row in yellow, it says 2 live coaching calls.
It's
You're like,
probably behind us.
Word behind the people. God bless America. Okay. So sorry. Could you ask that question again? I was like high key panicking. I'm like, where did it go? And it wasn't in my trash can. And I was like, so sorry. Okay, so what I do when you're saying that, like, do I take the copy and do I change it? No. So I'll show you what I did yesterday for, and I call it training versus warm and personal story. But I talked about like the 3 learning cycles. This is what I used, and I literally copied and pasted this stuff into a Canva. So I literally like went through and I was like, okay, I picked one of the 3 main ones that I'm going to use. And I was like, if you created your shifts, I would love to help you create that positive impact on others. I want copy, paste. As I said, when you work with me, I give you a system for everything. Imagine copy, paste. The 6-month program goes in these cycles, copy, paste. And so I use that. And then from here, this was like the old caption, which is really long. And then I picked out the most important pieces of there. And I was like, okay, let me make this 4 sentences. So I said, in 6-figure systems, you'll get personalized processes, because if you do business just like someone else, me, you'll not get the same results I have because you're not a carbon copy of me. However, I will have you implement my systems at a starting place, and we will customize them as we go, sort of as sort of a done with you instead of done for you service. So sign up for your consult to reserve a spot for mid-May, and I'll see you there, link in bio. So I took this whole thing, shortened it to 4 sentences, and then I only made it 2 sentences for this is for the real. So this is the caption for this one is the 4 sentences. For the real, it's just the 2 sentences.
and then was that whole caption used anywhere?
Nope. I put it all in here.
All inside the thing. So yeah, I guess I'm wondering, like, so do you see this one that we're on right now as like a warm lead post, and then
Yeah.
the real is a cold?
I would say they're both for warm.
Yeah, because I guess I was wondering,
So like
you don't always do like cold, warm, hot, all like every single week. It's more like, or are you saying that like
I do
when you
warm.
think of those 2 posts, it's like 1 post, even
Yeah.
though it's 2.
So it's a post and a reel. I just combine them. Like, okay, so this was my cold lead for last week. So I said, it can feel scary when you start a business. I feel like it was really scary, but this is why. And I would love to support you in the big leap. Had a reel where I talked about like just why this is important to me, for you to create security as you build more people in your business. And I was talking about like the big leap and why it feels scary. And I was like, I felt scared shitless, and it's okay because I can help you. And then this one was my warm lead post, where I just talked about the lessons that I learned from launching. And then I was like, work with me. So these are like bigger. And this was like a very long, like, I mean, I don't know if y'all saw the email I did last week, but that was a long email because I felt like I had so much to say. So I had like a little bit more of a caption here, and then a shorter caption here. But
So
this was,
everything you do actually make it 2 posts. Is that what's happening? And then like those first 2 that you showed us were cold lead.
yep.
These second 2 are warm lead. But
Warm.
all 4 of those were in one.
Sorry, you cut out for just a second. Could you say
Sorry, all 4 of those were in 1 week.
Yeah, actually all 6 of them.
So you're actually doing 6 posts.
It's a post and a reel. It's like the same it's like the same content. You just reuse it twice.
Totally. And then do you post on the same day, or do you like split it between?
I like to do one a day, or like one post reel a day. So like this one I did yesterday. I'm gonna do another one this evening, and you're gonna be on Saturday.
Got
But
it. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I was like, wait, if it's the same caption,
it's
how
just,
is it like warm and cold?
yep, it's
Because
just
the prompts are like pretty different. Okay, that helps a lot.
so glad you asked that. Yeah. So, and I should probably clarify that. I can do that. I'll change that up and I'll clarify that for the next time I record these. But I just realized for you guys, all of you guys already have that weekly progress tracker. And I can't go back in and change. Like, if I were to go back in and change all the modules, it would change for, like, if I change like the modules I'm going to release for next week, that would be fine. But if I change it for you guys and like half of you guys have one thing and half of you guys have another thing, I think it would throw off the consistency and the continuity of the group. So I'm thinking we're just going to do a lot of clarification for you guys and for the next round, because everyone got this progress tracker, and I can't change that for everybody for the progress tracker now. So we're just gonna keep the modules the same, and also like do quick clarifications like this at the beginning of our calls, just to make sure that it actually does make sense for you guys, because I have changed a lot. Any other questions? Stellar. So if you do, everyone is doing an awesome job of using the stream, even though we didn't have a group co-working session this week. So super proud of you guys. And like, we're only 3 weeks in. So for you guys to get this like already so well in the first month of us doing this program, you guys are killing it. Please continue to ask clarifying questions. I know it's a lot, and it's going to keep getting easier. So proud of you guys. And it also, I've been going through all of your wins and things like that. We're still going to start with the typical what your win is before you share with the group. But I'm really excited for you guys, and I think this is going to be awesome. And Andrea, you put some amazing coaching here, and I wanted to see if, first off, win, and then we're going to get into this bad boy. And then just raise your hand using the like little the little thing. What is it called? You know what I'm talking about, the little thing if you want to go next. The little hand. You'll actually have to physically hold your hand up.
All right, so you want to win first?
I do want to win first.
I think because I think our one-on-one coaching call was a week ago, last Friday, somewhere about there. And I think the win was the discovery that I was speaking to completely the wrong people.
Oh, I bet.
No, it's the wrong people. And I think it led me to really start diving into also this like idea of being enough and feeling like I don't feel like I'm doing a very good job as an entrepreneur. And I have kind of decided that I've like quit, that this isn't working for me. Therefore, my copy and all of that has really been directed to people who have quit on their weight loss. And unfortunately, those people who have quit on their weight loss aren't really looking to invest in weight loss coaching. So that's why no one's calling, no one's DMing, no one's doing anything. Not that I've had like a change, but I feel like the realization, and I've continued to like journal, do the thought downloads and stuff on that, daily this week to really like dive into it. And it really, I feel like it goes even as far back as like when I was a kid and my mom would do MLMs and me really having like a negative perception about that and feeling like, well, because she stopped doing it, she must have failed. And I don't know. So like, I felt like it was all tangled up in there.
Yes. Oh my
Fun,
God.
fun,
This is so
fun
good.
fact, it's not really a fun fact, it's kind of embarrassing, but if any of you are in 2K for 2K, you can Google or search for in there ask a coach about MLMs, or I think the subject line might be I think I joined a cult. And I got a personal response from Stacy encouraging me to ask for my money back. So I didn't. I'm still a part of it. I'm still a part of it, but this is like really deeply ingrained in terms of like I think I'm even thinking about it in that way to be like this isn't even a real like business. Like I chose something fake to even engage in. Um so it's been really interesting.
Yes.
That's a lot that I'm sharing, but and it feels really kind of embarrassing, but I think it's good that I've kind of gotten this stuff that I'm working through and processing through so that I can really focus on serving and really speaking to people who want to be served.
Oh my God, this is huge because I have a feeling that so if this has been going on since you've started your business, right? If these thoughts have been like just kind of like under the surface, you have still been able to continue having a business. You've still helped people and you've actually made money having all these thoughts. So like just so you know, people, you can have terrible thoughts about business and can still make money. Great news. I'm glad that we're gonna start figuring out those thoughts now because I think you can help a lot more people without these thoughts for sure. And your favorite color is blue or is it
Purple.
purple? Okay. So huge win here. And I think that like now that you've gotten to the root cause, you're just gonna like that's what happens when we have so much awareness around a topic. It's just like, oh my God, and this and this. Like I like TMI, you guys are gonna learn. I like share like everything about my life, but I like learned something about like a former partner that was not so great. And I just feel like I just kept going like, oh my God, and this happened. And this. And I was like, oh my God, it was like this was all a lie, but it was like not in a, like it that was a very dramatic way of presenting it, but it was like I kind of felt like it's almost like an awareness snowball that like really will be so helpful. And even just in like having an awareness snowball, that can be helpful enough to be like, oh, I can shift from that. However, from what I saw in the post yesterday, it's seeming like I don't want the an awareness snowball to shift into just like building a giant snowball. I want it to shift into like creating a snowman. So what is this is now still left over that you feel like you would want some coaching on?
Oh, well.
Let me pull it up.
I mean, so well, and now and today's a bad day to ask, I feel like. Not really, but like I mean, I want to be able to get the inner confirmation for myself because I say it's a bad day to ask because the one client that I'd asked kind of was pondering about like should I even ask for feedback or whatever and I did ask her for feedback and I got her response finally today. So it took her a while to get back to me. So I think I was continuing to spiral down because I was like, oh, well, for sure. She hated working with me. I'm a terrible coach. Like you know what I mean? Like it was just going through that. But,
What did she say?
like a good student, I got the good grade, right? And now I feel like better. So yeah, I mean, she had a lot of great things to say.
Oh my God, wait,
Yeah.
she has a lot of great things to say. You're not like a horrible coach. Like it's like you need to be fixed. Fascinating.
Yeah. I
Great.
know, shocking. But yeah, I mean, she basically said there was nothing that she would have changed. There were so many things that she liked, and that she really put the onus on herself that, she wasn't doing the work. So of course I feel better about that. But I understand that that's also like a repetitive problem for me, right? I'm a habitual, what do they call it? Vanity metrics checker, right? I'm constantly looking at how many people liked my post, how many people are following me, how many people viewed my story and gave it a heart or whatever, you know what I mean? So working on that ability to like feel that enoughness like for myself and not require something outside of me to go, yep, you're doing it right. Yep, you're enough.
Yes. And so here's the interesting thing. So at the 3-year plan event that I went to this weekend, one of the things that I've realized is that one of the reasons why I think coaching is such an important thing to include when you have a business as a solopreneur, it's different than you selling something. Like instead of selling like a freaking lamp or something like that, you're selling you as a coach, which can speak to your abilities. And it makes logical sense that if you're selling like yourself as a coach, for you to take it things personally. The problem is it can lead to a lot of skewed kind of it like problem solving that kind of just like leads to more problems instead of actually solving them. So within like the vanity metrics, it's like the reason why I think the vanity metrics are something that people usually get like are going to is because we want to see that enoughness reflected in our business within social media. Like I'm sure all of us like raise a hand if you like check for views or check for things like that. And that's one of the reasons why I brought up that like on Facebook, I swear, like people like I might get one person that actually likes my post on Facebook. And yet I've still one person, 0 people, 2 people. You know, it's like usually people don't like my posts on there. And yet I've been able to make 6 figures yet last year. Why is that? It's because it's more about connection than the post itself. But it's like almost like if you're looking to prove yourself with these vanity metrics, you're never actually going to be able to help the people. So it's like we have to go from like focusing on yourself to like focus on like serving, even when there's no result to say that someone's listening. And how I know that is because you and I did not know each other at all before this coaching program. All of the, except for Sarah, Vidya, and Demetria, who were already my clients, I did not know that you guys existed in my sphere at all. It was awesome. I literally like, you guys had been watching my stuff. Like I've heard you guys like quoting things that I said like in November. I'm like, how did they remember this? You guys were watching. So like people who are not liking, who are doing the vanity metrics are still listening. I promise you, you are literally living proof of that. You know? So what would it take for you to like stop thinking that like the vanity metrics are an indication of you and your coaching and to show up and serve with humans?
What was that last part? Show up and what?
Serve like the people who are genuinely looking to lose weight.
Yeah. I mean, start practicing a little bit of constraint and just stop clicking on Instagram unless I have a specific thing I'm doing.
Yes.
Specific thing cannot be checking how many views a reel got.
Instead of going on Instagram, like what could be something that you could do instead? Like I've got like a timer for like 15 minutes like a day where I'm like I'll allow myself to scroll for 15 minutes and then it's like a time limit or something like that. So
Yeah.
like helpful or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can. Yeah, I want to build in time because I mean, I'm a human being. I'm not a machine. I like to I like to mindlessly scroll as well. I think a lot of what I've been struggling with and part of why like I joined this program was just spitting in a lot of confusion, right? Not really having a whole lot of direction. So like the whole idea of like batch tasking and things like that, like really makes a lot of sense to me. So I think having a really like focused objectives, even in my Monday hour one, when I do it, it's very like social post, right? And it's not very specific on like, well, what? Like, are you posting a carousel? Are you posting whatever? Like, are you posting for a pillar? Are you posting for like, it's just like, I mean, just whatever you feel like, right? And so I feel like when I start getting like, what I'm gonna post about, it's like, let's see how well that other reel went, let's see what else people are liking, kind of a thing. So it kind of spirals. So I think having, yeah, more specific like goals, outcomes. Let's see.
And like I was thinking about like what result like do you want to come from posting on social media? And I would love for that to be like building like it's like we're obviously going to build your business, but building that skill. I also just realized something that's very critical. Raise your hand if you did 2, where we talked about the offer and client results instead of 3. If you did that, that was what we were supposed to do, weren't we, Talia? Yep. I forgot that I'm doing a week behind. It's week 3, but we're reviewing week 2. So you are right on track. Everybody else, you guys just got a bonus video, and I'll go over your offer next week, and it's great. Everything is fine. This is a new way of doing this. Thank y'all for your patience with me. But so if no one else read this, I think that's a really great idea. But I would love for you to start like thinking about like a result that's related. And I was going to say to one of these metrics, which we didn't talk about at all. So we'll talk about that next week. But like something about like your skill as a marketer was what I wanted to like bring up to you. I want when you do this form, I want you to think about like, okay, you're in this, unless you would like to quit, which is always an option for you, but unless you want to quit this business, which I don't think you plan on doing at least for the next 6 months, I want you to focus on what you could do this week that could get you a higher number in this scale. What kind of skill could you start to build? How many times would you like to post? Like, that's what I would like for you to focus on, because as you grow as an entrepreneur, like I spoke about, the networking is going to be a really big piece of it. But posting it does attract people. You want to have a professional looking page. Your page looks we talked about it. It looks phenomenal. I think that one of the things that I would like for you to work on is start writing to the right people. Not right, but like writing to people who actually want your coaching. So it's like that's what I would like for you to work on. And another big thing is like when you talked about constraint, I would also like for you to do time constraint. I want you to think about what can improve just this week instead of thinking of like all time, all year. That's what makes it feel very heavy. And that goes for everybody, is like thinking about, okay, what do I want to improve this week with marketing? Not oh my God, I have to do all of these things all right now. It's like, okay, just this week, I want to start writing to the people who want my coaching. Okay. So yes, the constraint can be helpful, building in mindless time, scrolling time, batching content, eventually getting to that. What can you do just this week that can help you to find the people that you want to serve? Like, how can you actually start writing to them? Like,
I mean, I was thinking I could go back and like try to rewrite some of my posts. I don't think they're completely off the mark, but they're just a little bit off. So if I could be able to reread them, identify where I've really speaking to people who are not interested in losing weight anymore, they've already given up, and like tweak that so that they're somebody who is just frustrated maybe with the process of it.
yes, are frustrated. And if you get stuck, I would like to offer to you that like maybe working on your core pillars could also help, and be like, okay, like, because I know when we were working on it, it was kind of like we got some pillars, but then I think we realized that the pillars were for people who don't want weight loss coaching. And so
Right.
like thinking about what they would want, I think that could be helpful. And I want you to think about like how you feel when you market currently. How does that feel?
I mean, it feels really difficult right now because I'm telling myself nothing is working.
Great. Okay. So,
None of this is getting the result I want. Nobody's
uh,
talking to me, liking it. No one's scheduling consults. Like, obviously, this sucks.
yep. So it's like it feels, what'd you say? Difficult,
Hmm.
catastrophize, ruminate, fixate on people not fixate on people not booking, not changing marketing, looking at vanity, or I was like put that here. And then obviously you undermine your ability for it to work.
Yeah, and it's kind of not funny, haha, but I've actually been recently talking a lot with my clients about how like weight loss like should enhance your life. Like it should help, make it feel better, more grounded. It shouldn't be like a shitty list of to-dos. And that's exactly how I feel about my business. I'm like, oh God, I gotta post, gotta write, gotta email people, like blah, So it's like this shitty list of to-dos that I'm like, oh my God, why?
Yes. So it's like I literally think that I think I've spoken to you guys about this before, but I think the exact problems that you have, your client is going through at a different level, not a lower level, but it's like all the problems that I have with organization, I'm now going through at a different level. And I'm like, oh, great. It's like I don't feel like this week I was like, I don't have enough time. And I'm like, shit, I've had this thought before, but I know how to fix it now. It's because I've already overcome it at like level at the other level. So I love that idea of like it's enhancing in your life versus taking it away. Using so instead of like difficult, what do you want to feel? Like maybe it's like instead of like difficult to like thrilled. Like don't need to do that.
When I first started my coaching business or whatever, I just was like excited, you know? Like I felt like I was early. I hadn't even lost all my weight. Not even probably a third of it yet. And I was just excited to post my plans. I was very open, like with my failures and my successes, and it felt like something very exciting. And I guess I kind of also just had that like thing of like, oh my God, my life has changed. Like this is like bonkers how different it feels. Like everybody needs to feel this. And
Yeah.
now I feel like I'm just back to like, I don't
Yep.
want anyone to feel like this, and it's bleeding through, and it's not helpful. It's really not helpful.
Yes. And so it's like, and also so much compassion for yourself. Like I think we all feel this way. Like you go in cycles, and we'll talk about low to high value cycles later on. But it's like if you can remember that feeling when you first started, there's already a neural highway in your brain that you can have access to. So what's happened is you started sledding down a different like this path, the nothing is working path. All you have to do is come back to like be like, how can I see how my life has changed so much today? Like I'm able to run after my kids, like finding the magic in the little moments. Like I'm able to like I'm wearing a shirt that I never would have like felt confident in before. I can wear anything that's in my closet and I feel so great about that. Like coming back to those little moments. And I had a moment like this summer where I was like, I was living in like essentially like a concrete box. It was like an updated warehouse and it was like so dark and dingy. I felt like in a windowless basement. And now, like, I don't know if y'all can see, but I've got these beautiful trees outside. I have a porch. I put solar lights on, and it's like so amazing. And I was looking outside, feeling like so stressed, like at the beginning of like winter, and I was like, oh my God, I have everything that I'd ever wanted. Like literally I get to coach all day. People I love. I think Sarah was talking about this last week. I was like, I literally have my dream life and I still am feeling like funky. It's like, so, life is supposed to feel funky half the time, but also coming back to like that genuine gratitude and like excitement and being like, oh my God, okay, like everybody, my life has changed so much. Everyone needs to feel this. and I'm ready to go and do this. So how does that land for you? And I'll type.
I just need to practice that neural pathway.
Yeah, it's just it's a practice skill, and it's not one supposed to be innate. It's going to be like flexing a muscle. So I want you to practice this every day and just be like, I want you to write down this OMG, my life has changed so much. Everyone needs to feel this. Post-it note it, put it on your computer, put it somewhere you can see it, and practice it like every hour on the hour, and be like, actually get into that feeling of genuine excitement again.
Yeah.
Love this. Are you open to having anyone else give a couple ideas or feedback or things like that? Awesome. And if you do not want feedback from other people on the things that you post in the group, just say like, just give like a caveat, like, Megan, if you could just please respond to this. Otherwise, if you guys read through anyone else's coaching and want to add to it, not as a way to buffer, you are welcome to.
Yeah,
But-
no, I'm always open to it all.
Awesome. So does anyone have any ideas? Talia, it looks like I saw a quick hand.
Andrea, I just wanted to say I also was a little bit worried about having joined a cult or an MLM or something when I started, so I can just relate to that. And the thing that I just wrote down, since I know that you're also a Stacy student, is the experience that I had I have when I'm feeling really excited about my business. I think Stacy has a podcast, it might be an early one called like Living in Breakthrough. Megan, I don't know if you're familiar with this idea, but she just talks about like you always have to find a way to stay in breakthrough in order to continue to have that energy. And that's an idea that's really helped me, is like, okay, I feel like I've mastered this thing that I used to be really excited about talking about. So now it's time to like look for my next challenge.
I love that podcast. I think I'll find that podcast and I'll post it, because that's what I found through self-coaching every day. And like, even like you could post like, be like, oh my God, like you could post. And what I said in the last, in this one, I was like, sharing your wins with the flavor of like, I'm learning this in my business too, can be so helpful for people to see. Like, I remember I was going through a breakup last year, and I was like sharing all the things I was going through in a breakup within the lens of your career. It was like a way that I was like using my time to process my breakthroughs and also help other people. So I love that. I'll try and find that podcast for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Anybody else? Beautiful. That was a great way to start. Who else would like some coaching today? Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Bueller. I was like, what I can do is I can like go through the list. If you're like, not today, Megs, you just be like, no, unless someone else wants some coaching.
I'll always take coaching.
Okay, let's bring it.
There's always something.
Win
So,
win first. Win first.
oh, win first. I am a member of a BNI networking group where we like meet every week with the same group of people. And it's like a referral group.
Business.
And I did a one-on-one with one of the members today. And he's a financial advisor, and he was really interested in coaching for his wife, who has her own staging business. And so just this conversation I had with him, he was like asking me about my services, and I'm like, okay, I'm a professional, like trying to get into the like, I'm a professional. This is what I do. I just say my price when people ask without, okay, I was sweating and I was probably blushing, but I didn't flinch. So that was really good practice for me to be, like when I'm in lawyer mode, I have no problem with that. But like as soon as I like transition to coach mode, I feel like all of my imposter syndrome comes up, and probably having to do with some of my limiting beliefs about, the legitimacy of coaching. But I think for me, it's like I still have this belief that like you can't make good money doing something you actually enjoy. Like you have to suffer. And so that's where I struggle with coaching. like, it's too fun. You can't actually do this for a living, right?
God, I love this. That's so fun. That's wow. I've never heard that thought before, but I think it's an inherent belief for all of us because I think we're told that you have to struggle to be successful, and obviously, like you can't like joy to success with our societal beliefs. So, I would love to coach you on that if that's what you're open for and that's what you're looking for coaching on, or if you're looking.
That's not what I had, but like it might be worth. Let me brain dump a little bit more because what the other thing that I realized after my one-on-one with you, Megan, is I think I was trying to talk to the wrong people too. So there's always themes, right? I had what I was really, really stuck on after our one-on-one was this idea that my ideal client that I had articulated doesn't exist. Because I was just like making it up. I feel like can you just do this? Do you just like get to make it up? Because I've never worked with someone who fits that criteria. And as I was looking at the clients I do have and the clients I have worked with, I realized that there was something else unifying them. And I really want to be able to articulate my like product and my ideal client in a way that describes the people that actually have already been attracted to me rather than like making up somebody new that I've never actually helped, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that what if it could be both?
Yeah, it could be. I think that's the thing. I think I was just like I had narrowed in too far on somebody that like what I realized is if I had narrowed this far earlier, I wouldn't be working with either of the clients that I have active right now. If that makes sense. They signed recently.
And so I want you to share what is the difference between your ideal client and current client. And I will say that like I think it's interesting because like our brains are like they're so different. I just want to hear what you think are so different about these two people.
Yeah, okay. So the ideal client that I had in mind, and I kind of know where the reason why I'm not sticking with this decision is because I don't like how I got to this, if that makes sense. So like the person that I had articulated was like an expert who wanted to start their own business. So and that comes from my experience, right? Like I was an expert in the law and I wanted to start my own business. And my current clients are women who the thing that they have in common and with other clients that I've had in the past is they're women who are just ready to either like level up in some way or are and want to like they're like feeling stuck, want to be empowered, or going through a difficult change that's like forcing them to level up and they want to be empowered. So it's really about like women stepping into their own power in the face of some challenge, either chosen or not.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Right. So I think what we're seeing is that like your ICA is just like a subset. It's like they are this, what's the rule? It's like every rectangle is a square, but every square is not a rectangle. It's like they are the square of the rectangle. They're like choosing the difficult challenge and they're ready to level up in the flavor of business, transition and other life aspects.
Yeah.
Like I want to show you, that's why I was like, they are the same. And we're just like kind of like channeling now question, would you want to channel this to be business or do you want to keep it? What happened with me is I did career coaching from August to August of 21 to 22. And then last year I switched to business. And I found that of my 18 clients, 11 had business. I never, ever said I was a business coach. And yet I was attracting all these people who had businesses.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, but I also didn't change my marketing from career because I was just kind of like taking them. So that's an option for you to just like continue what you're doing. And I think if you're picturing business people, if you're marketing, if you go to events with people with businesses, guessing they will probably start to come.
Yeah.
Or you can start specifically talking to them and then they will come.
Yeah. I think that the first way you said that, like, I think I want to stay more broad right now and just have in mind that I can talk about business because that's something that interests me and just let it be a little bit more organic versus having this like really like kind of narrow definition of the people that I help without having ever helped other than myself, like that describes no one I've actually ever worked with.
Perfect. Okay. I think that sounds great. And I think that so I think that that sounds good. Keeping it broader as, I was just corrected by Grammarly, and then let the people come to you. And like, as you do it, you can be like, I'm, like, we'll think of like a jazzy name for you. Instead of like an entrepreneurial coach, we could be like a change coach, transition coach, like something like that. Um, but I still think it's like absolutely awesome. And I still think it's going to be super helpful for you to
Thank
have.
you. Yeah. So like the one limiting belief that really comes up for me, and this is why I didn't like my reasons for defining my super narrow. The other thing is, what does A stand for in ICA? I ideal client
So sorry.
avatar. No, it's okay. I was seeing that on somewhere else and I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
So the limiting belief I have is about general life coaching. Like for me, I I keep telling myself that like if I do business, money, like I can guarantee like there's like tangible results. I can say like it's worth investing like what I charge for 6 months because like obviously you're gonna see the results in your business. Um and I'm much better on this than I used to be, but I think I still like just struggle a little bit with like the general life coach identity and it being like serious enough.
Okay. So what I would say for here, it's interesting because here's a thought that if you're niche, don't listen. If you're general, this is for you. This is the point when Aurora said I was like, do not use other people's coaching against you. This is the point. So plug your ears. I think everybody, because everyone else is like, except for Demetria if she watches this back. But the interesting thing about being a general coach is if you think about things like that, you can coach 100% of people. Like you can coach 100% of women. If you niche, that pot goes to like 10%. Now your message is a lot for all the niche people, every single person on this call, your niches, it's very clear that you help and you can find groups of people that are very specific to that. However, when you're thinking about that's why, and next week I'll go through talking about like the intangibles because you can guarantee that they will improve in these areas. Like
Mhm.
I would say that you're going to be, when you set it to work with me, I'm not saying that you're going to be a 10 in every single one of these categories. And I'm not actually even saying that you're going to make 6 figures or even your money back because I think the skill is so much more important than the the education is so much more important for you guys at this stage of your business. However, it's still just as important to sign up. And if you think about how did you get into coaching? Did you work with someone who was very specific?
How did I get into coaching?
Yeah.
I didn't actually hire my first coach until after I joined 2K for 2K. So I kind of like stumbled into coaching from my own like desire to help people and just like figured it out.
So if you you weren't trying to help people in like a very specific way with a tangible result,
No, I wasn't. So I first started, I was going to be a divorce coach and then decided if I was going to work in divorce, I'm just going to keep being a lawyer because it's miserable no matter what. And it's easier to make money that way. When I first started coaching, I was a general life coach because I just like could not, like, I really believed I needed a niche, but like couldn't commit to anything. And I'm glad I did that. But yeah, it was just like, I was just talking about all my own problems, and people with similar problems were attracted to me.
Okay. And did it work?
It did work.
Okay, so we want to stop what's working, is what I'm hearing.
No.
Like, yeah, if it's working, we should probably continue it and just like finesse this. Because like if you're thinking it's not serious enough for what? For people to come to you, for people to pay you, you've got
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like the I think what my brain offers, and like I said, I've already done a lot of work on this, is that like people won't pay for things that aren't like don't have economic value.
which like literally isn't true in your own personal experience.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just checking in.
Yeah, no, I don't want to believe it, but I think that's just like the like sticky thing that keeps coming up.
Yeah. Okay, so what I would like to do is I think we did this for somebody else. I think it was Maria, maybe last week when we talked about the belief coaching. And I want you to tell me 5 ways people will pay for things that aren't economic related. And I want you to do this like, every day
Okay.
to build the belief. So give me 5 and then we'll open it up. Because I think you just need to, I think it's literally just like I was talking with Andrea about. I literally think that you've just like built this neural network that just like really isn't serving you. Like if it's not working or like things like that. So if we can think of things that are not economic related, like
Yeah, okay. So so you want me to give you examples of things that people pay money for that aren't like business coaching, which is something that like my brain is like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's restate the beginning of the sentence to it like verbalizing. It's like from teaching modes of learning. So it's like you're verbalizing, you're visualizing, and you're going to write it out every day. So it's
Mhm.
you'll hear it, you'll say it, you'll see it, and you'll type it. It's 4 different modes of understanding.
Okay.
That's why doing thought work is so important. It literally like changes your thoughts on like 4 different levels instead of just one.
Okay. Well, so people love to pay for things like vacations. Like
So what you say, people will pay for things that aren't economically related, like vacation. People will pay for things that aren't economically related, like blank.
okay.
I want you to like literally like say, I know it sounds like silly, but like I literally want you to say these words
Okay.
over and over again so that you can like start to build a new neural loop.
Okay.
So people will pay.
People will pay for things that aren't economically related, like vacations.
Huh?
People will pay for things that aren't economically related, like art.
Yeah.
People will pay for things that aren't economically related, like horses. I have horses. A lot of my money goes there.
A lot of money goes there. Any dough, they're not paying the bills.
Yeah, yeah. I keep telling them they have to get a job. Like, you know, fun experiences like skiing.
Yes. One more.
People will pay for things that aren't economically related. Like self-care, massages, facials, things that I probably should be spending money on.
Yes. And I want you to think about like, okay, fun thought is like coaching is like a massage for your brain.
Ah,
Literally like how I feel about it. I'm like, coach me every day. I like I love getting coached.
Yeah.
Post out all the negative like gunk, and then it just feels like I'm so relaxed after. I'm feeling so much better. And then I want you to add like a little caveat when you do the Zen work, and like think about like why. It's like because vacations bring them more joy, because art brings them more peace, because horses bring them more excitement, because skiing gives them more adventure, massages give them more relaxation. And then like if you can think about the emotions and why that's even more about, okay, so the fun part is, why do we want to make money?
To do all of those things.
So literally the reason why, it's like you are just removing the feeling. It's like you're a direct attachment to the feeling, whereas I'm feeling adjacent. Because people can have all the money in the world, but they won't be able to feel certain things unless they have the thoughts.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you could be the richest man in the world or woman in the world, and you can still feel shitty, and all the money in the world, all the things in the world won't be able to help you create feelings, but general life coaching can.
Nice.
You
Thank you.
know? Of course.
That's really good.
So I think that'll help you to be like, and sometimes like I can even like, it's like, why economic, like it's like non-tangible things are even more valuable than tangible things. Like you can like,
Totally.
things like that's another like way you, if you feel like you've done that enough and it's still not like landing, think about, and this goes for everybody, if you got a thought that seems stuck, think about like another ways you can do like the inverse, and it is building belief for something that like might not serve you, and like it's like you're just learning the skill of building the belief. It's like why intangible is more or just as valuable as tangible results. So like that could be like another one. I love this. So fun. How is that feeling for you? And are you open to coaching from anybody else?
Yes, I'm definitely open. That's good. That like makes sense to me. 'Cause it's like I have the awareness of this, and I know like in my, that my 20% conscious brain or whatever, like I get it, but it's the subconscious like that keeps raising the pattern for me. So I can see how this will help. Thank you.
Of course. Anybody else have like some insight into shifting to help Talia like be like so ready to help all these people with general coaching?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome. I can't see. Oh, Sarah, hey.
Hey. So I think it might be valuable for you. In fact, even Stacy talked about this on one of her super early podcasts of like sitting with, at least minimum, but like do it every day for the next year if you have to. Like, what's the value of paying for coaching? And I think there's value in unpacking what coaching is because it's such a misunderstood profession, And so I would be curious even to hear from you, Talia, like if someone's like, well, what is general life coaching? How would you explain that to them?
Yeah, that's really good.
Like if you were to be like, if this guy comes up to you and he's like, hey, I want you to help my wife, what would you say?
It's so funny. Like you asked me that question, I get a little nervous. So I think that just like illustrates the value of this exercise.
Yeah.
I do still feel like I struggle to articulate that.
And doing all those thoughts about why it's not valuable. Of course, your brain can describe it.
Yeah, well, that's probably why I'm like blocked from being able to articulate the values, because I have that like deep belief not deep belief, but like sticky belief that I question it. Yeah, I want to sit with that for a little while and I want to practice that. I want to like, right. I think that I think it was a podcast of like writing it 100 ways or something. And I think that would be valuable for me. Thank you.
And I would offer to you that like, if you were to think about this, you literally already said it, which is why it's fun. So it's like, what is general coaching? It's for people who want to just level up. It's for people
Yeah.
who are feeling stuck. It's people who are going through a difficult change. It's for people who want to be empowered. Like,
Yeah.
these are all the things that you say, and you're like, I don't really know, but I just
don't-
want this.
Yeah.
It's like they have a challenge and want to get better, like something like that.
That's
So,
so good.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like, just notice that your brain does know what general coaching is. It's just choosing to stay confused because it doesn't feel safe.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is creating the safety, and then this is creating the belief.
That's
So
really good. Thank you.
alright.
I think it's, if I could just, is someone saying something that I cut
Yeah,
off?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's helpful to remember that, and I think a lot of thought leaders could do a better job at talking about the nature of our profession, but at its core, coaching emerged under the umbrella of mental health because most mental health, like even still to this day, stigma exists because I say mental health and most people immediately, right, they think of mental illness. But the thing is, there was a huge gap in the market because there weren't practitioners to help support people who were in the range. Like if we think of mental health actually on a spectrum, there's like disease, disorder, unwell, struggling, coping, all the way up to like well and then thriving, right? But the upper echelon of that was not really a thing until coaching emerged for people to be able to engage in forms of proactive and preventative mental health care.
Mm.
Bitch, can you please make that a quote?
Yeah.
Doing like a ton of like content on this soon, so I got you guys.
Like yes, and yes, like because that like this is what it's for. It's for the upper level when you're like level up, feeling stuck, going through change and what like it's like impact. It's like all about that upper tier.
Yeah. That's really good. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. That's
Yeah.
like, so I think that like that's where I get uncertain is when I like have to talk about like what is it very generally, like when I'm talking to a person who has a specific challenge, I'm like, oh, here's how coaching can help you. And I don't struggle with that, but as soon as like somebody asks me like what is coaching, I'm like, I actually have no idea. You definitely shouldn't hire me.
Well, like where people get confused is right, is like, and a lot of people assume coaches are like it's for advice, right? You give me advice on how I should live my life. That's how a lot of people think what coaching is. But actually, coaching is an advice giving that actually is the realm of consulting, mentorship, strategists, right? Coaching, while there's overlap and crossover with those kinds of professions, is about awareness, increasing self-awareness and agency for people.
Right.
But people don't know that about coaching, a lot of the time, or
Yeah.
understand what that piece of it means. So we want to be able to unpack that a little. Like the reason you aren't able to implement what a mentor, strategist, etc., is because you lack the self-awareness to know what's stopping you or what's creating the results in the first place. So we diagnose what's going on so that you are able to pursue whatever action plan that you want to implement, treatment plan you want to implement.
Totally. That's so good.
Again, you like please tell me you're gonna watch this back and just like even if you're just like literally like using this exact thing for a post, Sarah, yes, and Talia for sure. It's like this is exactly the kind of things that we do as coaches, and we're focusing on that front end piece of things, about not the front end, but like that half of things. And it's like, okay, you have all the skill set, you've got the tools, why aren't you still doing the thing? Because someone to figure out, diagnose what's going on in your mindset to move forward. But Sarah, beautiful, like so damn good. And I also would love, like, it's like as you do this, I want you to keep adding this. And I think another thing is what you're doing in your marketing is speaking to the specific challenge. I want you, and I think I go broad too much. Like again, marketing is it's a practice, not a perfect. And I want to speak more to like, what is that specific challenge at 2 p.m. that's under the umbrella of like something that you're talking about? That's what you want to be doing in your marketing. That's what you want to be asking people. And I think that like, instead of like one of the things that you can do is like when people are like, oh, you're a life coach, like it, like also like asking questions first. So like you understand their career or whatever they're going through. I mean, when they're like, hey, what do you do? And you're like, I'm a life coach. And it's like having like an elevator speech, and B, listening to whatever like they do. And then like knowing a way that coaching could relate to whatever they do too.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I love that. And then telling specifically for their situation. Yep. Awesome. How does that land? Anyone else have any ideas? That was great.
Pure gold. Thank you.
Great. Who wants some coaching now?
Sure, I'll go.
Oh, and then, yep. And then I'll coach you quick. And then Maria, I'll get to you too.
Or you can go to Maria. That's fine.
Girl, you are good. Go ahead.
Okay. I think one thing that would be like interesting to just clean up a little, just because I haven't really dug into it.
I want to hear something good. Tell me something good, and then we'll get into it.
I mean, you and I have kind of rumbled through this a little, and I'm sure it'll be kind of relevant. It's like, I think a lot of people have sometimes taken a tool, and a lot of people have like misused that tool. And so people have like automatic assumptions. And what I'm referring to specifically here are DMs. That's not something I've like done a ton of. I've seen some people do it well in a very like personable, friendly way where it's like, cool, actually it's like a new connection and things like that. I am wanting to like, because I've seen it modeled in ways that I like, I'm like, you know what, from time to time I do want to do a certain amount of that per week. But yeah, like someone in the Coach Posse, which is like a community for coaches, like put someone on blast for doing it, and just like the chain went like crazy with people hating, and even like certain people who like I kind of respect and stuff, but the hate was real on it. And I was like, it kind of just bothered me too, because it's like, I know how there's probably so many people on that chain, probably over 80% of people who are just, post and praying and are feeling like entitled by, if I post, then clients should come to me and they will come to me, and that is the only way. And I've seen people like sink their entire coaching business with this business model. And I'm like, here's someone like, listen, I get it. It's very clear from the way the girl approached it that she's scoping for clients. But hey, if you want a door knock, like hats off to you, was kind of my view on it, is like, you don't have to reply if that's not relevant to you. But hey, maybe someone this girl reached out to is. And this is someone who's being proactive about growing their business. Meanwhile, people are chirping who are doing nothing and have posted, spent like a full week working on one reel, and like, and it just kind of like bothers me, because the way people were responding to that, and the intensity, and just like, it's like overall the tone is like, you are somehow less than if you reach out to someone, God forbid. And I don't know, it just feels like social media is so not social. It's like more valuable for you to publish a post than to have a human conversation. You don't have to agree to a sales call. You can participate. But it's just like, oh, and you see people on the chain, right? Like, business coaches who do, I send them, and I think part of what like maybe is the thing that I need coaching on is like, I think I see a really human way. Like if I were to play for you all, someone sent me a voice note this week. His approach was so chill and everything. And it was like, the way he made the offer reflected that he took time to like resonate with some of my content, like really take it in. It's such a genuine place. And when his offer reflected a value add for me, and even if it wasn't for right now, I was like, you're someone I want in my orbit. Awesome. Right. I'm like, I want to do that kind of thing too. But I think because especially it's even in my name, like on Instagram, Sarah Rose business coach, business coaches and DMing. The reaction is a lot like in that thread, you know? And I'm like, I know I don't have to use that approach. And I have a multi-pronged approach to growing my business. But I'm like, damn, like a big part of me wants to use this thing, and another part of me is like, ooh, go though. Like the times it's great and you connect, awesome, and it's so worth it and it's so personable. The other side of like people, imagine screenshotting me sending a voice note and posting in a community and being canceled. Like, ugh. I just think, I mean, I need to like even do a post on this. I'm glad this is recorded. I'll just like match it back. But like, I think it's so crazy. Like, yeah, people have used it in an abusive way, but also, when did social media become like not social? I mean, it's from the beginning, apparently, because it's such an oxymoron. Social media. It's like media that substitutes being social.
Yes. And I
Rant over.
for a second, I like totally agree with you. And then I'm gonna coach you, okay? Because we're actually all gonna talk about next week. So I'm gonna leave everything that I have in our classroom for this week. And I think the reason why I got confused is because I didn't schedule this post. I accidentally posted it when I clicked on it. So that's my bad. But I'll leave this up. And then next Tuesday, which is actually only 5 days away, you guys are going to learn about how I use networking and outreach as an outlet for my business. And it's literally actually how I built a 6-figure business. Like I literally, like, that is how I will talk you guys through and explain how, like, with word of mouth, that was how I got my name out there. Not DMing in the creepy way, but like the building relationships, like, hey, I'm Megan. Nice to meet you. Like, glad we're in the same sphere. I spit a little. Sorry. So I'm with you on the DMing, but I want to like take me and this conversation out of context, and I want to talk to you about like the potential fear of being canceled really quickly within the ways that you are trying to grow your business. So like, I'm with you. I hear you. And let's go there. Let's talk about like this cancel culture around DMing. Why is that something that like kind of freaks you? Like, if someone posted a screenshot of you sending a DM, tell me your thoughts about that. Cause I think that's the thing that's holding you back and why this bugged you so much. Cause I think I saw it too. And I do it literally, like, similar business coach. I've talked to people. I've been on social media, and I've DM'd people. I've been like, hey, love your business. Let's tell me what's going on. How'd you get started? And I didn't have a visceral reaction to it. So I want to know what was there's probably a thought in there that was like, it's like either like around justice and or around like, I'm scared to do this. So if I were to be like, hey, like,
I'm on both sides, because like I even speaking, I've been on gallery views, so I can see all of you, so I can connect with you. I know you're resonating with what I'm saying. Like, I know when I like speak it like that some people are like, you know what, that's valid. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but whatever, it's fine. I can imagine that there are people out there who get the same way that I do.
It's like, oh my God, they're teaching DMing and it's not what I teach. But it's like, it's a different way. So you'll see. But anyways.
I mean, and I know that like being polarizing can actually be good for my business at the end of the day. I think part of me does focus on like a like I doubt it, especially like because so many people in that community I've had some sort of connection to. But yeah, I mean, it's just getting blasted and then it affecting my capacity to help people who I truly can support. And I think in ways that are super needed in this industry, because I see people doing being proponents of quite strange things.
And so I think that like the fear is like if it's like an if then statement. If I message people, then I may be blasted and hurt my ability to support people. And
just work I want to do.
You what?
Like it'll hurt my ability to do the work I want to do.
Yes. Okay, so how does that feel when you think that?
Like reluctant.
So what you doing?
And I read through the comments to see if there was any nuance in the thread. There was none. I didn't speak up. I didn't really want to open myself up to that firestorm. Just didn't feel like the best use of my time though. And then, I mean, obviously I haven't done it yet.
Mm-hmm. So of course, because if you're thinking that's going to hurt your ability to do what you want to do, of course you're not going to do it. What are you like not talking to people on social? Like I think there's like an alternative where your brain isn't considering, but it's like you're not thinking about the people that you could help on social by just talking to them like a human, not like, hey, work with me. That's not what we do. But you're not thinking about like when you're not talking to people on social, you're not thinking about the business owner that was you 8 years ago. Who would look at your Google Classroom and lose their little minds and be like, oh my God, there's so much here. This is what I've been missing. You know? So you're gonna let this one, it's like this was just also not think about how this was just one post. And like within the realm of business, fun fact, sadly, people are gonna judge all the time everything that we do a lot of the time because a lot of people are not doing it. And I think that I don't know, like there's a Brene, did we talk about the Brene Brown book when we were talking about like people who aren't in the arena?
Yeah.
And so it's like when you're thinking about like these people which you described, which we are not judging if where the post and ghost method is for you and you would like to abandon the idea of like talking to people on social media, that's totally fine too.
I think the part that's even like enraging me in this, which does kind of create the space for some courage, is like I said, I'm on the other side. I mentoring inside the life coach school. I've seen so many people like literally sink in their business, not get it off the ground because they think there's something wrong with not like if your strategy should be like the garbage post challenge or just posting. And if you're doing anything else, ooh,
yeah,
there's something clients should be coming to you. And if they're not coming, it's because you're not putting enough value out. It's like,
yeah,
no.
I like, and it's interesting. Like the thing that I also like find interesting is like these are posts that are like people teach what works for them, you know? So like,
It worked. I probably know who she learned it from. Like, I mean, I didn't learn directly from that person, but I see her approach.
exactly. So it's like we can see her approach, we can see like, and it's like some people teach ads because ads work for them. Some people teach value because value worked for them. Some people teach garbage posts because garbage posts work for them. You know, it's like we teach what worked for us. And that's why, like, I teach you guys what worked for me. And that's why everyone has the autonomy to like speak out and be like, okay, like, and like listening to y'all's intuition and being like, okay, I'm going to listen to what Megan says, and then I'm going to adapt and adopt and abandon what works for me, what didn't work for me, and all that goodness. However, this, like, it's like, this is, I think, the part that makes you feel sad, right? This is like the part that sucks. And we're not, like, I think what we need to do is like, I don't know why these people are having these journeys where their businesses are not getting off the ground. Like, that really sucks. And doing these things and like that for them, if they're doing that kind of a thing, like, I'm not sure why that's the journey that they're on. However, I think it would be really cool. And I think that there are people who are doing these strategies that work really well for them. And I think that's awesome. I think doing a mix of all the things is also great for people. However, wouldn't it be amazing if you could be a different voice in the industry and being like, and you can help some of these businesses to get off the ground while trusting that if they don't get off the ground, it's not your fault or the people who are teaching these things' fault. But it's still important to bring up the things that you want to teach.
This is just like embedded in my program, you know? It's like, to be the CEO, that means you're the authority on your business.
Mhm.
And that's like one of the hardest things for people to develop as a competency, is to like put their opinion, their intuition above anyone else's.
Yeah. And so it's like, so that's what you teach. And it's so fucking badass. It's beautiful. And other people are going to teach different things. And everyone's going to judge everyone because they think they know best. And that's okay too. But I don't want you to I want you to do what you want to do, regardless of what people say. So let's say, you know what I mean? And I just don't want this post to hold you back. I want you to post the social media isn't social anymore. And I would like to change that. I think it'd be a really cool, different voice in the industry that I think needs to be heard. So is there anything holding, now seeing that, understanding that people are going to say what they're going to say, and it's important to get your message out there anyway for these people. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think I'm just seeing, as the words were leaving my mouth, I need to put my opinion over anybody else's, even if that opens me up to criticism. That's just like par for the course. My ideas on business and the coaching industry are a lot more, are different than other people's, because I've seen it, lived it, breathed it, and so I just need to do it, even if there could be business repercussions, because
Yes.
it could be either way. So
You said at the beginning, you were like, it might be polarizing at the end of the day. And it might be, but I think it's also going to draw on your people. Like, I talk about doing organic marketing, and I was like, I made all this without spending a dime on an ad. And I'm sure there were some thoughts about that. And there were some thoughts about the things that I say, I'm sure. But I also always go through things with the lens of like love and doing what's right for me and sticking with my intuition and having my authority in my business and being like, I'm never saying anything to hurt people. I'm doing it intentionally. I'm going to hurt people unintentionally, I'm sure. Sure, it could happen in this future of my business, but I'm willing to do that because I know that this work is so important to get out there. And for you, ma'am, your opinion is ready to be heard. And I think that I'm so, like, the second that you said that, I could tell that it felt right to you, even if it might be a little scary and put you in harm's way. I think it's really beautiful. So How does that feel going out to and like talking about making social media social again?
Yeah, it feels congruent.
I love that word. I heard someone use it the other day and I was like, yes, congruent. That's it. Beautiful. Are there any other thoughts are you open to thoughts from other people? Okay. What else? Does anyone want to add anything?
I just have a quick one.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Maria.
Yes.
I saw Maria raise her hand.
I was just gonna say, I think with this like particular topic, I think it is like really loaded, and I think there's like a lot of nuance in it. And I think that I wouldn't be like super shocked if a lot of people on that thread that responded are like responding about like a very specific, painful, either personal experience or like something that they've heard about that was like felt really like violating to them, and not responding to like the very broad spectrum of like cold, even if it is like a cold DM experience that you like didn't have a previous conversation and you like did a reach out. I think you were even saying there's like somebody reached out to you and did like a voicemail and it was like really nice. There's probably like a lot of people on that thread that were totally didn't get like that message from someone, and their response is like a corner of the experience on the internet that is like and it's making it seem like the only experience to you, where like when you read the thread, if that makes sense. Like people usually comment and leave reviews when they have a strong reaction, like even for like an Amazon thing, it's like you loved it or you fucking hated it. Like no one's even giving like 3 stars. Kind of. I mean, there are, but it's like there's usually like you feel like the strong emotion. That's what prompts you to like write something. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. That was kind of like a dumb.
No, I love that. And I was like, and then how neat would it be if they got a better message from you to shift their perspective on it?
I think we just got to normalize making offers too. Like there's a difference between someone and telling them to buy your offer versus reaching out to someone and saying like, hey, is an area of your life or business this that you are currently looking for support in, or that sort of thing. Is like normalizing. You can't read that stuff sometimes from the outside.
Yeah. And being like, hey, also like nice to meet you human to human. Like, it's like that is the piece that I think you're about to bring, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Talia. Oh, good. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said really good points, Maria. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, like, kind of tagging onto the Brene Brown thing, that people don't criticize from confidence. Like the people who are really confident in what they're doing aren't gonna bother with that. They're just like, let people do their own thing. And so the way I try to think about it is like, if people get upset with me, like that's just a gift that will help to reveal the things that they need to work on. And that's the way I think about it for me. Like when I get triggered, I'm like, oh, good, an opportunity to learn something about myself. And so that helps a little bit.
I think it triggers his blind spot indicators. So fun.
No, it is so easy to criticize when you're not in the arena from the stands. Peanut gallery. Peanut gallery energy.
Yeah. So I love this for you. Amazing. Maria, I would love to give you some quick coaching. Vindia, if you have any coaching that you need, message in the group. We got you. And Maria, do you have time to stay on past 6? If not,
well, yeah, I was gonna say I have to leave right at 4, or sorry, it's 4 o'clock my time.
yes.
But I can put it in the chat, and we have our one-on-one this coming week as well. And
yes, we do.
If we don't we can talk about them too.
Amazing. And I also so we got all the things posted there. Post it if it's private, post it in your weekly thing. And also, y'all, we've got coaching on Tuesday. So I will be back, and with you guys for Tuesday, which is going to be awesome. So that'll be great. Also, I think you were the one, or Andrea was the one that asked about how to do, just real quick. Well, we got 5 minutes. 555 Make-A-Wish here. But I don't know if it was you that asked about, oh, okay, it was about Andrea for the templates and the spreadsheets. Yes, you're going to customize them. I just wanted to show you what that would look like. So what you'll do is you'll get like you'll go into the classwork, and for each of these things, so we'll talk next week. Sorry about that with the 2 and 3, totally messed that up. But you're going to click on the pillars worksheet and you'll click make a copy, and just showing, I'm not sure if I showed this in the first one, but when this happens, it's just going to go to your general drive. So if you want to make a spreadsheet or if you want to make a Google Drive folder with all of your 6-figure systems, all the things that you're making copies of, move it here. And then what it'll do is it will, that will be in your drive. I had a question about that earlier today, and they weren't understanding that. And I apologize. I made a video. I didn't like it. And then I was going to make another video, and then I forgot. So that's what happened, and why you guys don't have a video explaining it, but it's coming. It's going to be great. And I'm probably going to do it right after this. So if you guys have questions, I got you. If not, just a real quick review, do the progress trackers. I'll check it on probably on Friday. I've got time to check the group work, but I also am getting on a flight. So if not, I'll check it on Monday. And that's it for today. I love you guys. You are kicking ass. I'm watching all your posts and things like that. Sorry we got into marketing this week, but that'll be even more fun to get into. If you have any questions about posts or things like that, now that we've gone over copy, if you want to post your any posts that you're doing in the group, if you have any posts that you want me to look over, tag me in them, send them to me on Instagram, Facebook, any of those things, and I'd be more than happy to help you with them too. But you guys are doing awesome. If you have any questions, let me know. And we're good now, 3 minutes, or unless Vindy, if you've got some coaching for the next 3 minutes. Awesome. Okay. And I will see you guys next week.
Thanks,
Bye.
Megan. Bye.